Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Cats and Rats After Dark. I want to mention to everyone off the top here, make sure to check out our latest podcast episode, just dropped today, Saturday. Episode about Brad Marchand and Aaron Ekblad. So I don't know how much we'll get into that here today, Cody. We're going to go around the NHL a little bit, but there's still Panther news kind of circulating around and some numbers and stats and some videos that we're going to share with you later there. We missed Caesar here today. He's the captain of our ship running operations here, not feeling great this week, so hopefully he gets better.
Love you, Big C's.
Down there in the chat. Doesn't have much of a voice right now, so hopefully you get better there, C's.
And before we begin,
yes, Cody.
I've been sitting on this for the last 2 days. So as everyone has right here, as I have right here, I have a mystery jersey from at Hockey Jerseys on Twitter right here.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I have no idea what jersey they sent me. Let's see here. Share my
What can it be? Show everyone what it can be. I want some
All
guesses.
right. It could be one of these 6 things. A signed NHL jersey, a premium Fanatics jersey, a Four Nations jersey, an international jersey, a regular NHL jersey with the name on the back, or a blank NHL jersey.
Now, you're already cheating and peeking or feeling. What did you already tell me?
I felt it. It doesn't feel like a blank to me. So I have no idea what it could be. Let's put some guesses in the chat, like anything. It's random. It could be whatever the hell it could be.
I'm throwing out like a random Finnish player. It could be a Finnish player from the past or present, right?
Yeah, it could be anything, honestly.
Okay. I'm thinking like a Finnish hockey player. That's what my feelings are. Chat, we're starting to fill up a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys give some guesses here.
Just put a guess in the chat, whatever you think it may be. Speak of the devil. We got
5 minutes.
5 minutes for you could be an hour.
Wow.
But Nick, right here, I have my mystery jersey right here.
All right.
Any guesses of what you think it would be?
I hope it's Dougie Hamilton.
I don't mind Dougie Hamilton. It's Kirby that hates Dougie Hamilton.
It better not be a Montreal Canadian jersey. Yeah.
So it's a Four Nations jersey.
Yeah, I got those ones in there, Cody.
Team USA Four Nations jersey, specifically Brady Tkachuk. I wouldn't mind that, honestly.
Could be like a fourth line player, and we know this, Nick, that Cody has a lot of fourth line players or bottom line.
It could be Miles Wood.
Miles Wood, I'll laugh if it is. Miles Wood. Is it going to be a defenseman? Cody would like that.
Wouldn't mind that.
And you guys are all going Panthers feel here.
Matthew Tkachuk.
I did laugh at this diehard that it would be a Boston Bruins Marchand.
Here's a funny one. Got David Ayers right here. But now I can't wait anymore. So we're gonna figure this out right now. Seth Jones. Okay. Let's see.
Western Conference.
Oh, it's white. We got a white one.
Okay.
Well,
can't tell the team yet. Let's see the front for the back.
Don't say anything. Just show us it.
unfortunately, it is a blank.
Oh, you're right on that. Oh.
But it is Anaheim Ducks. Pretty sick, honestly.
My brother's team. Do you have one of the Ducks?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Oh, the duck web. But you're not mad. You're not mad because at least it's not the orange, right? Because you're not a big fan of the.
Nah, I got to put it on now. So give me a sec here. You and Nick.
We'll get all the Anaheim. Is Anaheim playing tonight?
Are they? They might be. They are not. It looks like.
They're a team that plays a lot of games on Friday, Sundays.
They play tomorrow. They're in St. Louis.
I got the Vancouver-Chicago game on here.
Yeah, so that was disappointing, but hold up. Let me put it on real quick.
We made him wait for that one. It was telling me I thought it was going to be a letter jersey, too.
Yeah. Got the Vancouver game on there, Kirby?
Yeah, I'm turning on now. They're up 2-0.
Soderblom in that?
Oh, good question.
Would be nice if you were paying attention for us.
Well, sorry about. I did hear things on Saturday headlines about the Panthers maybe starting talks up again with Sam Bennett there.
That's interesting. That's a new development. What do we think about? What do you think about that?
I don't know. And they were saying, well, he was in. We're going to talk about this guy in a second, Aiden Hill. Ellie Friedman was in on that contract talks, and those things moved along pretty quickly.
Yeah, he mentioned it on the podcast prior to it even happening.
Really?
Right? I believe so.
All right.
So we'll see what happens there. I mean, I would love to see Bennett resign just to get the Leafs reaction. They think they're getting all excited. He's saying these comments. Oh, I love playing in Toronto. Gosh, I would love nothing more than just see the hope erased from Toronto Maple Leaf fan base because Sam Bennett's off the market. Wouldn't that be a nice?
That would throw a wrench in a lot of teams' plans.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yep.
probably be one of the only good news we got in this week.
And then the players going to market, not going to be ranting it anymore.
Probably would have been some of the only good news we've gotten this week. So, freaking Montreal, man. And Boston, too. Oh, my gosh. What a rough week.
But speaking
Two most hated.
of those teams,
Mm-hmm.
a big thing. We have the standings in the East currently. This is after the result of the early games tonight. We have some late games on. I'm not sure who's all playing.
Yeah.
But the Rangers have vaulted into a playoff spot.
I think there's only one game going on right now, so those East standings should be updated.
They are.
Yeah.
The only game left on is Blackhawks Canucks. So, guys, right now, like I said, we took the L tonight, but Toronto with an L, and with Toronto's L, Tampa's now second in the division here. And look who's ringing up the rear. Ottawa, only 4 points back.
So I did want to talk about this. Coming out of Four Nations, talk about a lot of the teams that we're playing and also a lot of the teams that are fighting for those playoff spots.
Yeah.
I have some statistics here. Tampa 7-3-1 in their since coming out of the Four Nations break. Florida's now with the loss to Montreal 7-2-1 or 7-2-0. Montreal 6-1-2. And then you have Ottawa at 6-2-1, Toronto at 6-3-1. So you have all those Eastern Conference teams, and then I'll talk about the other ones in a sec. But you have all those Eastern Conference teams. Those are the ones kind of on the upswing. Very interesting coming out of break. A lot of people take a look at games down this stretch. I think this is a really underrated part of the season. A lot of people just say, "Oh, teams sell and that's it," and no more. A lot of these guys are fighting for NHL roster spots. And a lot of these teams are also fighting for playoff spots. And I think it's really interesting to see because you go into these games and, maybe in an October, November, December, hell, even in January, you're not really getting that intensity or you're not really expecting to get have really that much of a challenge on your hands with some of these teams. And then coming down the stretch here, I see a lot of these teams, whether they're playing for pride or they're playing for a playoff spot, you get some of their best hockey. So it's tough, especially for a lot of teams who I wouldn't characterize it as coasting, but, are not as
they're not as desperate.
They're not as desperate headed down the stretch.
Like Washington's probably going to lose a couple because they are going to coast.
Right.
And this is a lot different race this year, Nick, in the Eastern Conference. We focused on the West a little bit last week when I was with Caesar here on After Dark. The East, it's a lot different this year, and so many teams in it that are not going away, and really making pushes now too. Like a lot of the hot teams are coming up from the bubble, where we've seen in the past the Detroits of the world, Ottawa's kind of dip and drop off. I don't think you're going to see that this year.
No, and you'll take a look at some of the other teams that were right in the mix there. Detroit, New Jersey, Columbus. Detroit is 3-7-1. They're the worst team in the NHL coming out of the Four Nations break.
And they were playing really good before.
And they were playing really good. Columbus, they were really good initially out of the stretch. They're now 5-5. New Jersey, obviously, well, all their injuries, they're 5-6. The New York Rangers are 6-4-2. So, and you take a look at the standings there, right? Anybody down to essentially, I guess Detroit's still in it. You could even put Boston in that category. But I wouldn't. I would really say the cutoffs around Columbus, especially at this point.
What about the Islanders? Big game on Sunday and big week ahead here too for them.
Yeah, and they have a game in hand of some of these teams. So
They
again,
have 2 games in hand, actually. They're at 65.
oh, well,
Really?
New York. So again, realistically, I would say the cutoff's Columbus, but you could put it at New York, right?
To me, the cutoff's at New York, especially the way how these teams have been very streaky this year.
So
Like,
and you,
Ottawa's the only one where I feel they are in the driver's seat.
yeah, I mean,
Cody was going to pull up Tankathon here maybe in a moment. We'll give them a minute or two here. But Columbus has a tough schedule. You mentioned them.
Yeah.
They're going to be in tough here, I think.
yeah, and you take a look at a lot of these teams, especially with New York. Like, you take a look; these are changing every day now. So, like the Islanders, they could win their next 2 games, and the Rangers could lose a game here, right? Which that's possible. It's like you win 2, your opponent loses 1, right? Or you beat one of them one time. It's like all of a sudden you're tied for that. You're tied with them with a game in hand, or you're a point back with a game in hand, or your point whatever, right? A lot of different combinations, especially with 15, 20 games to go, right? Because so many different things can happen, injuries, as well as obviously results of how you play, right? But I was just, it's an interesting part of the year because you take a look at teams like Boston. Boston beat Tampa and Florida, right? And they're playing some, desperate hockey because there are a lot of guys on that roster who are fighting for roster spots. They want to be consistent in the NHL. It's one thing to make the NHL. If somebody said this, it's one thing to make the NHL, but it's another thing to stay in the NHL. Might have been Ray Ferraro. I can't remember. It was whatever.
With Boston though, Nick, fans are like, well, hey, let's play for a draft pick here or not play for anything. But like you said, those young guys come in the lineup. And a coach like Joe Sacco, too, kind of a new coach coming in. It's been such a tumultuous year in Boston. They're going to play to win, right? And that's what a lot of teams are going to do. And in a situation where a lot of these other teams, they want to make the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Columbus and Ottawa. Boston, people are trying
and players want to make an impression. They want to make an impression, whether it be on their team or another GM out there scouting for anybody, right? So they want it. I think it's a really, as I just said, I think it's a really good part of the year. It tests a lot of different teams. It'll test the best of them, right? For a multitude of different reasons. But, I just think this is like, I really enjoy like this final stretch because it's not just a playoff race. It's a lot of, you get to see new players and a lot of different individuals kind of rise up to the challenge, next man up mentality. So, and speaking of that, looks like according to Tankathon, the Boston Bruins would get the first overall pick in this.
Yeah, I just
oh my gosh! And Seattle.
Those are the old days of Panthers. I didn't even have that simulator then when we're trying to get that.
Speaking of Seattle, Money Montour Kirby, pretty good so far lately.
Well, I hope Cody shows some of that later. NHL history there.
It was.
But Cody, do you have anything to say at that strength of schedules or anything like that? I know sometimes you can dig too deep into it, but it does say, especially with the last 10, 15 games left of the season, I really like to look at it, who has the strongest strength of schedule left and who has the weakest, because everything's kind of settled from the trade deadline, and you kind of know like what these teams are going down.
I mean, Detroit has the toughest strength of schedule remaining with Washington, Dallas, Vegas twice, Carolina, us twice, Colorado still left.
That's going to be all tough games, yeah.
Yeah, Columbus with Caps twice, us, Avs, Leafs, Sens, Devils.
Yeah.
And then Islanders, Caps twice, Canes, us, Lightning, Wild, Devils. I don't know why the Devils are a part of that.
Yeah, they'll have to make adjustments to that probably.
Well, that's because of the strength of schedule is based off win percentage.
Oh, we still got another game versus Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Game.
Hell yeah.
One versus Utah. And I know Tampa and Toronto, they have relatively easy schedules. I don't know where they're at on this list.
And they don't take this into equation, right, Nick? But with the Panthers, for example, our team.
Toronto's 25th.
Play one team out west, and all the other games are in the
Tampa's 22nd.
We don't leave the East Coast, Eastern time zone for the rest of the year, right?
No, we do not.
Okay. So,
that Utah game is a home game.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, and then the back-to-backs, like,
that
we'll
makes
play, as of, we're playing tomorrow against the Islanders, right? I looked at our schedule this week. How do you have a back-to-back, then 3 days off? You go out to Columbus, come back to Washington, So you have 3 days off. You go out to Columbus, and it's out to Columbus, but it's not too far. Then you come back to Washington on a Saturday, and then you turn around immediately, come back down to Florida for a back-to-back. Why even give us 3 days off? Just schedule the games every other day that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense, like what they're trying to do.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah.
Like, how does that make? And here's the thing: if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you freaking just keep us on the West Coast instead of flying us out to Ohio just to come back to Washington?
And the back-to-back on a Saturday night, okay, hockey night in Canada, primetime game. Why are you playing on the island on Sunday? We're a top team in the league, so we're playing. We should have a primetime ESPN or TNT game beginning middle of the week if they want to have a national game or a regional game. But that's where those games should be scheduled. What's the point of having this back-to-back here?
Like, I just don't get how you have 3 days off at this point in the schedule, but all the back then you have like 4 back-to-back sets of back-to-backs.
I just want to hop on Detroit's schedule real quick because me and Kirby talked about this. Can't believe we're wearing a Ducks jersey, but hey, tonight they play at Carolina. Then they go back home and play Vegas. Then they go at Washington. And Nick, here's the kicker. They go back out at Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's
and then they go at Utah, at Colorado.
Yeah, they play Vegas tomorrow at 1.
Yeah, and Eastern Conference team that Cody mentioned to me, they still have that trip to the Central time zone and those teams out in that division out there. So that's
just again, they didn't add enough at the deadline. I don't really know what the hell they did at the deadline. I mean, I don't know. Again, we've talked about Yzerman here. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, are you a contender? Are you going to push for the playoffs? Are you a playoff team or are you not? Because if you're going to do all this stuff and then you're going to go to the deadline and you probably should have, you had an opportunity to make a move. And you get Mrazek and Craig Smith. I mean, come on. You're like, what the hell is that? And now again, you're going on Montreal. And, I think Detroit surprised us last year where they showed us like, okay, maybe they are closer. I just think at this point they're mid. Like they got a bunch of NHL quality players, but that's it, right? It's like, this is your roster. It's mid. And teams that we thought were going to overtake them last year, like Buffalo, Ottawa, Montreal, although Buffalo hasn't this year. Ottawa and Montreal have this year. And it's Columbus has this year. I mean, like you take a look at where those teams were in the standings, what they did and where they are now. It's not acceptable, especially if you're Red Wings for the Red Wings. It's not. And I'm not going to complain because I don't want another good team in the division. But I mean,
from an outsider perspective. But Kirby, I have a question for you. At this point, do you think Yzerman's seat is a little bit warm or at least getting hot?
Well, you guys have talked about it a lot in our post-game spaces in our 2 segments for probably the last 2 to 2.5 years here. So again, I would think so. And when you're looking at teams in the division, what Ottawa's doing right now, if Buffalo had that resurgence that a lot of people predicted, that would bring even more heat onto Detroit. But we had to see how that was going to shake out. If I had a horse in the race, I probably would have leaned Ottawa because I've always thought them a bit over Detroit and Buffalo, but we didn't know how it was going to shake out. So I think that causes pressure because nothing is going to change with the NHL, Cody, with this division alignment and how you make the playoffs with the top 3 teams in each division. You really have to look at what you're doing in your division. What Detroit's doing is not enough in Atlantic.
It's like the DeBrincat move is the only impactful move they've made in the last couple of years.
And it's like, you sign Kane, you sign Tarasenko. I mean, it's really just I don't know. I mean, you have these veterans, and it's just I'm going to say this: Patrick Kane made a huge mistake signing in Detroit. I mean, I don't know what the hell he was doing. I mean,
could have won a cup.
You could have won a cup. You could have been trying to go back to back here, but it didn't even matter. It doesn't even matter.
Did he want opportunity and placement? But I would argue if he did come to Florida as we finish second in those sweepstakes, he would be playing on our power play 1 right now.
Yeah, and
he would be playing next to Barkov more than likely.
And guess what?
Either that or Kachuk.
He would have been a cup, been a champion once again. But I guess if you have 3 cups, you're kind of just looking to get a payday at this point.
I wonder, is he a free agent or is he on a 2-year deal?
He's a free agent.
Okay, so I wonder what happens with him and Tarasenko. Wonder if they move on from Tarasenko.
I do agree with Neri here that he doesn't play style. Like, you got to be able to skate good enough, and coming off that hip resurfacing surgery.
I
but
think
again,
he's been
Cody,
fine skating.
the Panthers and Zito were in on him, and I know
Yeah.
you like him a lot.
I think he could have changed his game. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he wouldn't have played Florida's game. I think he would have to a point.
Skate would be the big thing for me.
But
people said Kirby said the same thing about Tarasenko in Florida style.
Yeah, I was more skeptical on Tarasenko than I was Kane because I'm like, he would really bolster our power play. And I could see him playing in our top six, Patrick Kane, when he was looking at Florida.
I love Kane, but he's the worst defensive player in the league. I'm going to be honest with you. We have about every single one of our forwards are defensively inclined. So it really wouldn't have hurt us either way.
But Zito is kind of resistant to sometimes bring on that defensive liability or a guy that isn't playing to that.
Yeah, but if he adapts to our system, he's not going to be a defensive liability.
Yeah, I don't need a top 6, top 9 complimentary.
You don't need it to be like Hartman or Patrick Kane.
Right. Like, I don't need a Selke level winger, even though we got one at Marchand. But,
and Reinhardt.
But we don't need that. We just needed somebody who could bring some creativity, who could fill a hole in the top 9, which we didn't have at the time. And when you have 6 or 7 or 8 guys in your top 9 that already are really good two-way forwards, it doesn't really matter what one guy's shortcomings are.
But, I mean, after wrapping that up, we have some Ryan with the Ducks. Yeah, it's a Ducks jersey. But we had some big goalie news this past week. Aiden Hill signing a 6-year extension worth $6.25 million from the Vegas Golden Knights. And I
put the detailed numbers in there if you want to pull it.
And I just want to talk about what the goalie market is shaping up, because this is something Florida's going to have to look at in the future here. Just scratch Carey Price. He's no longer playing. But
before we say anything, I do want to state for the record here, this is the beginning show of my Ilya Sorokin to Florida propaganda tour.
All right. Here we go.
This is Bob's successor. Get him a year or two. Fine, let Bob run through it. Sorokin will be sick and tired of the Islanders within a year or two, and he can come on down to Florida. And there's our successor right there.
But as you can see, we have a couple of extensions kicking in with Igor Shesterkin's extension kicking in at $11.5 million per year, which is a hefty price to pay for a goalie. I think he's the most paid. That's the highest paid goalie in NHL history, if I'm not mistaken. And
I just want to say to seize on Spencer Knight front, that's RFA. He was being paid pretty well. So there's a difference from RFA status to a goalie to UFA.
But I want to just take a look at the extensions that are starting this next year, because there are a couple that are starting. Linus Ullmark on an $8.25 million contract for 4 years, starting next year again.
And that money there means you're going to start 55 games around there.
Same thing with Jay Gottinger. 8 years, $8.25 million.
He can even play a little bit more than Ullmark.
You say Saros, 8 years, $7.74 million.
You're saying that kicks in?
Yeah, year 1 of 8.
Oh.
25-26.
Okay.
Then Aiden Hill, 6 by 6.25. You have Logan Thompson down here at 5.85. You have Mackenzie Blackwood at 5.25.
Just signed. Yeah.
Joey Decord at $5 million for 5. Kevin Lankinen, 5 by 4.5.
I thought that was a little rich.
Joseph Woll at a $3.6 million cap hit for 3 years. Charlie Lindgren and a 3 by 3. And that's pretty much it right here.
I just want to say Aiden Hill's come a long way from sitting up in the press box with me as a third-string goalie for the Calgary Canucks of the Alberta Junior Hockey League. Would have never imagined in my wildest dreams there, Ryan, in the chat, that he'd get a deal like that.
Did you ever think he beat your favorite team, the Florida Panthers, in the Stanley Cup final and break your heart?
I didn't think that either, Nick. And I was telling him, stop eating popcorn, start moving that camera. There's a coach up there. And Rick Tocchet got on him. What was he, in Arizona there, Cody? When he showed up. I saw him show up late to the press.
I thought it was a price. I think it was pricey, but with the cap going up, it's more of like a $5 million cap hit currently.
But don't you're not going to get on that, Cody, even if it's 1.25, 1.5. I don't think Vegas had to do that.
Yeah, I said that to Kirby the other day. I'm like, they could literally win with almost anybody in net.
Yeah. Or say we're giving you this, Nick, and accept this. We're Vegas.
Right? It's like,
why are they getting pushed over the barrel by Eden Hill?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to say this. Like, you won a round with Laurent Brossoit. You've used who knows how many goaltenders you've used. You've won a cup with Aiden Hill, right? And nobody would say that that's like phenomenal. He's never.
You could say cup tax, but with Aiden Hill, it's kind of like
the cup tax would have been on his contract right after they won the cup.
Yeah, but this contract felt like to me, all right, we're not going to find anyone better. Here you go. Like,
yeah, but why waste the money? Just do 5x5. Like, if you don't take the 5x5, we'll figure it out.
4 or 5 years. Couldn't that get it done, Nick, with Vegas?
5x5. 5x5.
I guess not. Aiden Hill got
I don't know. I think
one of the rare non-Vegas wins. Like some people think,
I think they could win with Anthony Stolars in net. And run a tandem of like Stolars and another guy, right?
Knight's not retaining Logan Thompson is crazy. Like,
I liked Logan Thompson.
Yeah. Bruce Cassidy didn't like him for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't answer that. They switched him out for Ilya Samsonov.
And remember, they had Brossoit there too when he got hurt in that Edmonton series.
Brossoit always gets hurt.
Yeah. So the Hill was so far down their depth. Again, that happened with Binnington as well. I understand, but it's a little bit of a head scratcher deal to me for goalies. You're trying to get goalies now, probably in that 4.5 to 5.5 range. And if you can get a starting goalie,
it depends like what kind of goalie you're getting. Like a mid-tier starting goalie, it's right around 4.5, 5.5. Probably going to go up to 5.5, 6.5 soon.
So wouldn't you rather pay for a cheaper goalie, Cody, than pay for an Aiden Hill? And if not, then you're going to go for a guy like Nick said, Sorokin, and you're going to go for a home run and try to make a trade, bring that cap in to your team
because I just believe every team there's every now and then a team wins a cup with a mid-tier goaltender, but dynasties aren't built off of mid-tier goaltenders. Look at Chicago, Corey Crawford. LA, Jonathan Quick. Tampa Bay, Andre Vasilevsky.
I don't have Crawford in that class. But okay.
Yeah, I don't either. And they won one with Niemi. They won one with Niemi.
Niemi won.
Right? So it's like
Aiden Hill.
Darcy Kemper won.
But I don't, because I think Darcy's not he's higher up to me. I always
I think Darcy Kemper.
Braden Holtby I would put around the guy out of Chicago. Why can't you just said his name?
Crawford.
I would put Holtby above Crawford.
Yeah, Holtby has a Vezina, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The only thing with Aiden Hill is just he came in the second round, third round, I believe. He hasn't had the full run yet. So we'll see how that goes, because that does make a difference there.
And it's are they going to play Samsonov in a playoff series? I don't know. And here's the thing. It's Aiden Hill, he started 39 games this year. I think Samsonov is starting tomorrow. I don't know that for sure. Let me check. But while I'm saying that, it's you're giving this money to a guy who I don't think he's – oh, okay. Vegas did play today. Aiden Hill actually played pretty well. But I'm looking here. He's never, and he's currently 28. He's never played over 50 games. Hell, he's going to break it this year. He's never played over 40 games at the signing of this contract in a season.
No, I'm very hesitant when goalies.
I don't know. 50 games. That should be you should. If you're making $6.25 million, you should be playing 55 games a year.
Because if you look at the deals, Shesterkin, he's the best player on the Rangers. Price, he was the best goalie in the world at the time of that deal.
Best player on the team, yeah.
Bobrovsky was the
player.
The Bobrovsky contract was a desperate move by a GM trying to save his job.
But best player on his team when Talent signed it.
Would you
I agree with that. I agree with that.
It's either him or Panarin back then.
I don't think Werenski was where he's at, and Jones and things like that. I think it was Bob.
But then you had Vasilevsky, best player on the team.
Like, there are a lot of good players, a lot of great players, a lot of Hall of Fame players. But yeah.
And Tony, Igor is the best goalie in the world. Agree with me? I think it's
I've been there.
I think it's Hellebuck right now.
I've been with Igor. I understand Hellebuck and not
I think it's Hellebuck right now.
But Hellebuck and Vasi had it for a while. But I think Hellebuck did give it up there for a little bit. Got it back last year, Cody, and had it this year.
Hasn't let it go.
Well, I go.
Am I crazy to still say Vasilevsky?
Who would?
Vasilevsky.
I think that's your fear of him.
No, I mean this guy is.
You have Vasi over both.
I would. I mean this guy. I would put it right there for sure. I mean,
to me, it's Hellebuck.
It's an
to
argument.
me, Hellebuck. The things that hurt him, and we haven't had a lot of international. We just did now, but the playoffs.
Yeah,
the playoffs. It's like that matters to me. And I like Igor. I think he's like.
Igor's got the perfect balance of taking his team.
Vasi's like 3 for me. I think Igor's 2.
Yeah, I agree. Vasi's now about 3 for me.
Cody
has Sorokin a lot lower, but Nick, you're going to be talking about Sorokin now.
You're going to see how good he is in a Panther jersey behind that defense.
Did you see how good he looked against Edmonton the other night?
The last 2 years, he's been not that great.
Oh, I wonder why.
What team he's with? Looks like the Hawks are getting.
But But the thing is just Hellebuck to me, he's my heart winner so far this year.
Yes, I agree, Antonio. He was atrocious. And there wasn't good goaltending in that series from the start, even when Colorado was getting there. But now with Colorado improving their goaltending, we got into the Western Conference a bit last week. I appreciate having our Western Conference fans listening to us here. It's going to be a gauntlet out west. And Winnipeg has a lot to prove here. Maybe the most to prove out of any team going into the playoffs. I might put that above Toronto, Ottawa down the stretch here, and into the playoffs if they get in, Nick. Winnipeg's got a lot, and it falls.
I do have a question.
Hellebuck's shoulders.
The Western Conference. Do you think there's any way LA could beat Edmonton finally?
I think there's a way. Yes.
What do you put the likelihood at?
I don't put it at a lot.
25, 30%.
Okay.
I might put it at 15%.
I think it's higher than last year's.
The only the only way I could see LA beating Edmonton is if Darcy Kemper is the best player in that series.
And then Edmonton's just can't find a save anywhere.
Like that's where I'm at with that.
Because Edmonton's upgraded their D. Their forward depth, I think, has been proven in playoffs.
You guys miss Stolars. Not really.
Do we miss Stolars? No, I
don't really see why.
I'm indifferent about him. I don't hate him. I didn't think he was like.
I want to for Antonio as Panther fans. Stolars, I've listened to him a lot with the Toronto media. He views himself as a starting goalie. That was not happening in Florida, not even a timeshare. So I'm like, we're running with Bob for the next year or two here, and then we'll figure it out from there. And then you had Spencer Knight into that equation and pitcher, which they weren't going to make the decision on that last offseason. So again, we didn't have a lot of time to make decisions. Cody, you talked about from the company to free agency. Stolars was so far down the list of trying to figure that out when Bob and Knight.
It was like Reinhart, Montour, Stenlund, Lorentz,
big gap after
Lomberg, Cousins, OEL.
I'll put OEL above Cousins, but OEL
big ass gap.
Yeah. Cousins, we
re-signing Paul Maurice.
Brought Lawrence back. I would put Lawrence.
Re-signing Paul Maurice was the best decision this franchise has ever made. Kirby taking the bank. I think Paul Maurice beats the Kachuk trade.
Beyond shocked, you guys didn't re-sign.
I'm screwing around, by the way.
The minute Forsling was re-signed, Montour was out the door.
Antonio, this is what they tried to do, and it might not go down this rabbit hole today, but trying to get Ekblad to move that no trade clause, I believe that to be.
Well, they did.
They tried it.
They tried to trade him
because he's not signed right now. So,
once again, they had a damn week, so it wasn't like.
Yeah, and the player has control.
But Ekblad wasn't waiving the no move clause.
Yeah, and I can't fault Zito for it because guess what? He didn't give Ekblad the no trade.
No, that's true. But even a guy like Marner, Brad Treliving never gave that to him, right?
Yeah, but I don't blame the player for saying no. I'm not waiving my no trade.
Well, speaking of that, I do want to ask because Cody said a lot of teams off season kind of changes up a bit. What happens with everything if Sam Bennett does resign in Florida? What happens to Toronto and Edmonton and Carolina, who all their playoff struggles are going to be solved by the pending UFA Sam Bennett, if that were to be the case?
What happens to their offseason?
Well, what do you think? Well, first of all, I can't wait to see what fan base reaction is going to be.
I
mean, if it happens.
I think they pivot. I think they pivot to probably like a Trent Frederick, maybe. I think Yanni Gord's probably lined up to get overpaid this year. Let's see. And one thing I got to keep an open mind about because of the raising salary cap. I think offer sheets are become a really big thing now.
Oh, really?
I really do. Because the
draft picks don't matter. If you're willing to trade two firsts for these,
I think Broberg and Holloway were just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So, but when Nick's saying draft picks don't matter, then teams are
yeah.
Good.
If you're going to trade 2 first-round picks for Bjork Strand and Yanni Gord, why the hell wouldn't you splurge on a young guy who you could sign for long term?
But I'm saying from the other side, Nick, if you're saying draft picks don't matter, then teams are going to match it to keep that player.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, if draft picks don't matter, why would you take draft picks?
Well, maybe sometimes they can't afford them.
Well, that can come into play. But if draft picks don't matter, and I kind of see what you're saying, Nick, what Breezeball said and other GMs have said, I think even out in Colorado, that we want to have players over picks.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like these teams that are trying, like, remember like when Montreal did it with Carolina, they were trying to make a jump then, Montreal. So teams are going to be like, we're not giving you our player over. We're going to match that deal. And that's going to create a lot of.
I have a question. Let's say you're a team that needs a right shot defenseman. Would you rather just go pay 2, maybe 3 for two first-round picks and 2 seconds for Noah Dobson off an offer sheet? Or would you rather keep those picks?
Well, Noah Dobson. And
right.
even if you're a fringe team or a team trying, like your team like Anaheim or a team like Columbus this summer, of course you want to try to there you go. Of course you want to make that move to try to bring in a Noah Dobson because you're probably not going to be able to find him necessarily on the open market. Or
I
even
see Ekblad maybe signing in Tampa and road to Detroit where he loved. Ekblad's going to go where the bread is. If he's leaving a team like the
Tampa's
Panthers,
not, they don't have
Tampa ain't giving him the bread.
Detroit fits home and for money likely. If
what are any other options? Like, let's say Detroit says we're not going that route.
Chicago.
I don't love that. I mean, I don't know. I just think like what do you think he's gonna get? Like 8.5?
Yeah, 8.5, 9.
I don't know, man. Like if I'm the Chicago Blackhawks, listen, I understand it, but I would very much avoid, especially going to spend that money like on somebody like you're going to spend that money on anybody. You're going to spend it on Aaron Ekblad. Kirby's probably going to blow a gasket at some point. He's like, they need to spend money on somebody. They need to spend money on somebody. Mikko Rantanen and Mitch Marner, somebody. And they
What's Buffalo's right side, guys?
Is it Power or are they both left shot?
Power. Let me look.
I want to know if they have one open on their top 4 because they can move Byram or someone else out and then make an offer for Ekblad to kind of bring in a veteran presence with that blue line. Could you see that being an option?
Did you see out west?
Darlene, Clifton, Bryson.
Oh, that's what they have. Oh, definitely Ekblad would work then. If they're trying to.
Would you want to go there?
But they're paying him.
I guess, right? I don't know.
Where does he want to go? Do you think he's going to have the pick? I don't think he is like Bennett. I think Bennett's going to get.
But here's the thing, Antonio. You're not going to see. You're seeing Alec Martinez at 40 years old for 1 year. You're going to be seeing Aaron Ekblad for 7. I'm just telling you what I see, what we see. It's not worth it.
Look, let other people be excited for Ekblad.
I mean,
they will. Right-handed shot D. We talked about on the podcast. Number 1 overall pick. Stanley Cup pedigree. Anytime that Stanley Cup is attached to a player, they get excited.
Yep, and first overall pick. But boys, right before we continue with the rest of After Dark, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Caneswear.
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at pantherswear.com. Again, that's pantherswear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
And another shout out to our other sponsor at Jeremy Beckham at BeckSellsFL.com. Please go check him out as well. And, earlier today, Sportsnet posted a pretty good post today saying, name a random Florida Panther.
Okay,
Right.
Before we start, Cody, we don't have a lot of viewers here tonight, maybe because after this Panther loss here. But on the replay, I want you guys to add comments in the section tomorrow. If you listen to this on Sunday or Monday, mention who you believe to be.
All right. So,
These names, they brought back some painful, bad memories, man.
right.
I went
Oh my gosh.
Start here, boys. Because this is my account, my comment's gonna be first.
Is it? Oh,
I said 4 names.
you
I
did.
said 2, and
I
not
did
the one
luck.
I told you earlier, Kirby.
I said
Your guys's.
Tanner Glass, Alex Kovalev, Derek Brassard, Thomas Vanek.
That hits a certain era there for Cody.
I remember we got Derek Brassard, kept him for a couple games, traded him, and then to the Avalanche. And then his Avalanche debut, he freaking
scores
scores
on
the
us.
game winner on us.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Class and those.
Thomas Vanek was a part of that forgotten 16-17 season.
I expected higher potential from him, but he was a big name coming to Florida.
Tanner Glass was a Panthers draft pick, and people don't seem to know that he played for Florida.
I think of him as a Canuck.
And then Alex Kovalev.
Yeah. Kovalev at the end there,
Yep.
but was part of Jonathan Huberdeau's first ever career goal.
Yep. We scroll down to the list here. Our boy Matthew says Scott Clemenson.
those red pads, man. Oh my gosh.
Nick says Quentin Howden and Jack Skilly.
There we go.
Oh, that's who you went with, Nick.
Yes.
You told me other names. You told me
I said
Alberta.
Dylan Olsen, but I'm like,
You
you know
told
what?
the guy from
Our
Cal-
boy Vince said Seth Griffith. Jakob Kindle from our boy Decker. Colton Sevier, Dylan Olsen. Let's see here. Goldie, Chase Belize? And Harry Sateri from our boy Jamie. Bill Lindsay. Kirby says Camille Krebs.
used to be on Facebook.
Kachuckle says Sean Bergenheim, John Madden, Mark Pesic. Yager's not even random. Jovo's not random. Lindsay's not random.
No.
Zednik is not random. Paul Loss is not random. Jokin is not random.
Oh, you're not going to give Paul Loss? That goes back a ways.
But he's not random.
Okay.
Like a lot of these Vaclav Neterost. Do you know that one, Kirby?
Oh, Vladislav Neterost or Vaclav?
Vaclav.
Vaclav. Yeah. Winger, I believe.
Weiss is not random.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Booth is, but
Peter Worrell's not random.
I
David
think
Booth is not random. Christiani's random.
Rabada is definitely a random.
Robert Svela is not random.
I'll give Worrell random if you're not a Panther. See, some of these people are not Panther fans because I
Wait.
think Sportsnet put this
Hold up. I'm going to comment one more.
What other ones? What else, chat? I'm trying to think. A lot of defensemen.
Got that one.
Michael Repick for a winger. Played with Bukestad in Minnesota. That would
Colby Roback could be another one. TJ Brennan.
Oh, Brennan. Corey Murphy. R.I.P. Carl Skrastinge.
Yeah, Carlos Grastinge. Trying to think now.
Ozelinch was a big name, but he came for
Sandus?
Sandus Ozelinch. Big defenseman, big name defenseman in Colorado and
I
Anaheim.
think Wojtek Wolski.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Oh, we'll check Wolski.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Wait. Hold
Sean
on.
Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias is on that borderline fringe, but sure.
There's another one. Scarbosa. Oh, wait.
Younger fans, that Thomas Kopecky.
Mike Santorelli. There we go.
Like sound sneaky good though.
He
Mike
led us in goals in one
Was
year,
like
I think.
poor man's Camilleri. Rhett Warner, that goes back, Chuck. Yeah, I would put him in there.
Stephen Camphor.
Yeah, that's the one you
Camper.
said earlier.
I got to go deep in my bag here. Hold up.
I just said you guys have to give me what era.
It's a freaking Panther.
I'll throw a couple more out. Tricky Nicky, Nicholas Hagman, Marcus Nielsen. Goalies, I don't know. This might be pushing it a little bit over the line, but Trevor Kidd, Mike Vernon, Kirk McLean.
Reto Barrett is crazy.
I see, like your guys' era is so bad goaltending, Nick. Like I'm naming like Kidd and Vernon and McLean. Those were serviceable guys. Like into your guys' era, some of the goals. Oh, pretty much Alex Ald and on.
Al Montoya.
He was one of the better. Him and Theodore, they were a couple of the better guys that you could tolerate. But Craig Anderson, Mr. Anderson, wanted to have you on the podcast.
He's not random.
Not random enough? Okay. Bunch of demon that just never panned out, flushed out. Nick Boyton? Cody?
Yeah.
Except that one. R.I.P. Wade Belak.
Yeah, Belak. Oh, shit.
You can think of enforcers. Oh, Darcy Hordichek. Who is the other tough guy? Nick Tarnasky.
Yep, I have him right here.
This is off top of my head here, Nick.
Let's look at the comments. Hopefully they got some. Rhett Warner, David Booth. Oh, shit. I'm really trying to think. We have a Blackhawk fan in here. We have
Novoseltsov.
Like these are all the names I can really think of. I think Paul Thompson is probably my most random one.
Oh, I don't even. That's totally right. I wouldn't even know. I don't even remember. Paul Thompson?
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
Dino Cicerelli.
Who's that guy that we got? The defenseman. I think he was from Atlanta. Ruslan.
Are you talking the Anaheim guy, Ruslan Saleh?
Yes, him.
R.I.P. as well. I think he was in the Russian plane accident with Skras.
Yeah, Skrastens and Pavel Dimitra.
Antonio says it. Oh, another one, Caesar. Yes, R.I.P. Jimmy Hayes. We're being morbid here, naming all.
Wait, who?
Jimmy Hayes.
Oh yeah, R.I.P.
He would be borderline to like. There's Bukestad, and then Hayes is somewhere in here. Hayes did he lead our team or?
Antonio's like, I'm not useful here at all.
Good to have you, Antonio.
Like, I'm really trying to think of any more. I can't think of any.
Let's just hit post and we can go back to it later.
Do I need to name a couple more on the way out? Marcel Gotch, you wouldn't accept that, Cody?
I wouldn't. Not random.
Because of the playoff moment?
Yep.
Mikkel Samuelsson in the Booth trade?
That's not random either.
Would Peter Mueller count?
No, he's not random. Everyone.
Cody won't accept the newer names. He won't accept the ones in the Trocheck trade. It's Lucas Wallmark.
Oh, you want Chase Prisky?
Chase Prisky. A lot of people would say that, newer Panther fans.
Oh, wait, no. Speak of...
Turstad, probably too new.
Speaking of Trocheck trade.
What?
Mark Pesic.
Eric Holla.
Mark Pesic.
Ryan.
Pesic's kind of on the border. Boyle.
Josh Brown.
Phone's burning out.
Welcome to Tallahassee.
But are you saying it's got to be a bottom sixer?
It's just somebody
pairing guy.
It could be somebody that people forgot he even played for the Panthers.
Oh, forgot. Yeah, I named a bunch of those.
All right, we got I think that's enough. I think we got enough names here.
This is what we would do on our post-game spaces show when we're having a rough season, which we really haven't had many of those guys. We kind of were in the first year, Paul Maurice, naming off former Panther players, trying to bring us back.
We were naming off coaches, man. We were naming off. I remember somebody had a list.
Kevin Deneen, freaking.
Cody wants to rank those one time.
I know somebody had a
Peter Horacek.
I know somebody had a book of coaches. I still haven't seen that book, by the way, or that list.
Oh yeah, 25 coaches. That would have been better than Paul
Maurice.
Antonio, you're going through that now as a Hawks fan.
Safe to say, there's a little bit of dust that's collected on that book, Kirby?
That book may never be opened because he went from Paul Maurice is now officially the greatest Panther coach ever, and it's not even close.
We got a lot of greatest ever in our organization right now. It's crazy, all over.
I mean, It's so tough, but right before, because I think we're going to wrap up here soon.
We got videos to wrap up before there, Cody. Those ones at the end when we close out.
Let me do this for Kirby.
Oh, you can play it. Okay, here we go.
A lot. So don't do it again. Off the draw. Here it is. Montour. Right in. He scores. Hey. What do you...
Just want to point out, he never did that in the Panther jersey.
Oh, come on, Cody, with the finish, too. Cody
never
every
did
time
that.
He talks about a former Panther, it comes back to bite him in the butt. The other night there, Stenlin scored, Nick. Montour scored. Cody's boy, March scored.
Well, who starts at overtime like this? Who?
Don't blame just the other team. Great play by Montour to time that drop, because Montreal, they were complaining about that. He jumped early, and a lot of people did a freeze frame there. Puck dropped, then he jumped, and he had his foot onside or whatever to the red line. Or
show that film to our team. Hey, yo, this is how you play against Montreal without turning the puck over.
Wow. We have history books with the longest shootout still, right? With Bukestad, but not the quickest goal.
Yeah, I thought we were going to hit history with the longest game in NHL history at some point.
Hey, Cody, I just sent you a video on Twitter. Pull it up. This is the Scottish Leafs fan I was telling you about earlier.
Oh,
Kirby.
Lord.
Yes.
I never saw it.
So we got to see if those were the fans that were in the ring for playoff time, they'd be good. Instead, it's all button up suits and ties.
Cody, I've got a couple other videos there too. Check in the DM after.
I looked. There was only that one video.
There's a Calgary Flames one, and there's another one, a Huberto one.
Well, let's get to this one right now.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Is advised on this one.
I mean,
I love the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Tonight, though?
I don't give a fuck. I'm here. I'm pissed. I'm absolutely pissed. Brilliant. I'm from Scotland. I've come 3,300 miles to see this shit.
Everything's... Oh, yes!
I'm really upset about Grebenkin going.
I am too.
Big check, four check,
Big check. Forward!
What an unbelievable video, man. That is gold right there. Oh, man, that is awesome. That's the passion that they need. Maybe they need that in the front office. So
no, because
or in the locker room.
There was that same video that that guy brought a cowbell into the rink, and they took it away from him because apparently there's a rule that you can't bring noisemakers into the rink.
In Toronto?
Yeah.
Oh. Bay City bootlickers, gotta be quiet.
Yeah, what is this? The opera? Jeez.
I mean, that team's been trying to be different since Harold Ballard. And you want to talk about a guy that I mean, let's see here. So Kirby also sent me some more.
There's one or two more in there, I thought. But when we close out, if you're ready, whenever.
Antonio, with the question, thoughts on the Sens season? Unbelievable story so far. I was talking about this the other day. I'm like, what grade do you guys give Steve Stamkos since he's taken over? I mean, made a bold choice in Travis Green as the coach. They made the trade with Chychrun for Jensen, who's been really solid for them this year. Michael Amadio, Nick Cousins, David Perron come in. I think they have a really good deadline. All those things, and they fixed the goaltending issue, obviously. All those things, and now they're fighting for a top 3 spot in the division. And it looks like the long-term plan is future there is pretty damn good. I mean, I think it's been unbelievable. I think Steve Stamkos and Travis Green have done a terrific job, and I think they actually have good management now. So
I mean, they have the goal for the Sens season was to make the playoffs, and everything after that was house money. So because you had a guy like Brady Tkachuk who's never made the playoffs, Tim Stützle, let's see, Jake
Batherson and Shabbat never have, right?
No, Jake Sanderson's been emerging. And I think Dylan Cousins has looked really good for him the minute ever since he's gotten traded there.
Oh, the hit numbers, and he had a whole highlight package because tonight in Hockey Night Canada, they were simulcast the Montreal and Florida game and then the Toronto-Ottawa one, and they were showing Dylan Cousins since coming over, the numbers that he's putting up. Ridiculous right now with Ottawa, and then just making that adjustment, and already seems like he's fitting into that group. You know, a lot of those guys are around his age and stuff like that, so I think he's going to fit in well in that room.
I agree, Antonio. I mean, that's a really good trade for Ottawa.
That was a hockey trade, if anything.
All three of us were big on that. We've talked about Josh Norris's injuries, knowing Ottawa very well as Panther fans, knowing Buffalo very well. Just thought that was a huge trade. Cousins, a lot of rumors that he's going to go out west to Vancouver or different places like that. And I think, it could be a really great fit in Ottawa. And Ottawa, they can still make a trade or two in the summer, even if they do make the playoffs. Just to change them.
An underrated move, they get a top 6 forward in Fabian Zetterlund.
Yeah.
Who they have under their control. And I think him and Cousins, I think they could really be good in playoff series. I think they are built for playoff hockey. It
adds a little more jam to their roster then.
Right. So, and it moves some guys down the lineup too. It moves a guy like Amadio a little bit further down, or Perron down to a third line. So you have that combination with everything. I think it's just a really good, it's really good. I mean, just really good moves over the last year by Steve Stais. And they got the right coach. Travis Green has done a phenomenal job. And, I know everybody's going to talk about Spencer Carberry. Travis Green probably could be up there for Jack Adams. And I don't know what Kirby, I don't know if you had him for the mid-season awards. If you had him
further down honorable
probably mention. Not, because Ottawa wasn't even in a playoff spot, I don't think, at that point.
I had Huska higher up, which still I think.
But if Calgary and Ottawa make the playoffs, I mean, I know everybody loves Carberry, but there is an argument to be made for teams like that. It's
I still think it's Carberry.
I do, but I mean, Travis Green, I think, should definitely be one of the top.
Yeah, but the only thing with Ottawa is, can Linus Ullmark get over his playoff miscues?
Well, I don't think they're worried about that right now. And I'm going to be honest with you. If they match up against Toronto, I don't want to say anything, but that could be interesting. So we will see. Battle of Ontario. And boy, if the Senators are able to, I'm just going to say this, Toronto, everything going on.
You see Jankowski already has
my guy, Antonio. That's one of Kirby's guys there. I'll give Jankowski a chance anytime. I think he's such a smart player.
Get that trash bag off my screen.
No, Cody doesn't like any of my guys, Nick. Come on.
Because you hate good players and like bad players.
Okay. Hey, I'm going to defend him. Brandon Montour is a damn good player.
Yeah,
there we go.
Thank you.
But is Erica Branson a good player?
I don't know.
Why, Cody? Cody, why are you hating him? He's gonna have more goals than Eric Ekblad ever had in the season. Always will have the franchise.
That record set by Brandon Montour.
That record is
point streak.
No one's breaking that record anytime soon. You need to bring in a Keith Yandel on steroids type of player to break that record, Cody.
We'll see. But Montour's at what? How many goals this year?
16.
He needs 2 more.
2 more? Does he? Oh, I thought it was 1 more.
He needs 2 more to break it, 1 to tie it.
Ekblad's.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 to tie.
Can we take a look what Antonio said?
Hey.
Cody, I'll be wearing my college basketball gear. Oh, I have my here.
Listen, the one thing that'll never change my mind about, if Ekblad doesn't get hurt the President's Trophy year, Montour doesn't have that record to begin with.
He doesn't. I hate to break it to you. I don't think Kirby gives him enough credit for that year. Kirby said he wasn't a top 5 defenseman before that injury. He's just maybe top 7.
Top 8 range. Top 8, 10.
He might. I think he was top 8.
No, I'm not going.
He was
top 3.
He was going to win the Norris.
He was
also, Darnell Nurse was up there for the Norris. Also,
he was a Norris candidate.
You guys have been off 1 year. You should have seen these guys. You should have seen how high Cody and Nick had Dougie Hamilton about 1-2 summers ago. Top 50, Dougie.
Erica Branson, that's your guy? Is that a Kirby guy?
Is
that a Kirby guy?
That's a good point. Hey, that's a free addition if he can come back, Cody, for Columbus down the stretch.
Stop pointing out shit. I told you.
I would love to. Erica Branson.
He's taking credit for my thing.
I think he'd be better. I think he'd be better up in the press box.
Oh, so you're gonna be for the playoffs, Cody? Huh? Okay.
You know who was a Kirby guy about a year ago? Popcorn Boy, Adam Boakfist on Columbus was a Kirby guy.
Yeah, he was a Kirby guy. Kirby wanted him at the deadline.
What happened?
I wanted him on the team. When I saw him,
he was on the team. What happened to him? I can't find him on the roster.
He was a cheap addition because Cody always said we don't have any cap.
Kirby, I'm looking here. I'm looking here at the roster. I can't find Adam Boakfist. Is something wrong? Something happened?
No, go ask. I'm not.
You guys thought that he'd be better than Uvis Belinskas, and
I'm not a big Belinskas guy.
I'm not either. But
And you guys were two big Boquist guys.
I wasn't. First of all, I was happy we got anybody back there because you should have seen the.
I needed anyone to play the power play.
Yeah, and we basically handed it to him, and he did nothing with it. So I don't know.
Nick was. I
Not
remember
even
this.
Cody had Aaron Flat in the summer.
Nick was so mad that like
I wanted Dante Fabro. I told you that. That was my guy. That's my guy.
Oh, you wanted Carrier as well.
Alexander Carrier, yes. By the way, pretty damn good game tonight for Montreal. I wanted Carrier and I wanted Dante Fabro. Look at them. Those are pretty good players. Right shot. Could use them right about now.
I wanted Chatfield.
Fabro sounds like he's in the analytics community.
I wanted Chatfield.
Yeah, some of the people in our community are stunned by that. Shout out to our guy Ryburn. I wouldn't mind Chatfield.
Look,
you've also mentioned Keandre Miller. I question how good of a hockey player he is.
I think he's a guy that needs to change the scenery because those tools that he has, you can't really.
No, if we had Keandre Miller in that game in Montreal here tonight, Nick, that you'd have about 8 more turnovers added to our list. Oh, boy.
So we could have put prime Nicholas Lidstrom back there.
To be fair, over. I thought we had prime Nick Lindstrom. We have Gustav Forsling.
Episode 42 of the Cats.
Episode 42. Check it out.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
The fact that those two names.
Well, we've lost. We thought we lost Nick one time to Carolina or Dallas. We thought we lost our girl Lex to the Kings. We might have lost.
And she went to a Kings game tonight, so maybe.
We go. I didn't even know that. And I think we're losing Cody to the Ducks. Cody's going to come back with all the prospects now.
Caesar says we should have ended on that Scottish video.
We still can.
We got a couple other videos. We got to end it on.
I don't see the Calgary one, by the way. It's not in there.
It's in there. Scroll up. And the Stoli one. But sign us off when.
Hold on. Are you telling me you can't find the video from?
Cody, it's above the.
On the mean streets of Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
You were supposed to play that when you named Dylan Olsen, but you chickened out, Nick, and you named a couple other guys instead. You were Dylan Olsen and the other defenseman.
Steven Kampfer?
Yes, Kampfer. Olsen, product of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Via Salt Lake.
A product of.
I grew up on the mean streets of Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
We got Nick in charge of the soundboard. You need to add more things to that soundboard.
We need to cut some things there too, make it fit better.
Having some words as the officials say, "All right, guys, time to get to the dressing rooms." We're loving this. Lomberg having.
Of course, Lomberg.
Is that an official sign there, Cody? You played a lot of hockey.
Yeah, it's get the fuck off the ice.
Did they do that in the 1970s? Just everyone get off.
It's get the fuck off the ice. That's what it is.
I've never seen that call in my life.
Okay.
I've seen this one quite a bit.
Appreciate it, Antonio. Thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
And then next up we have, where is it at? Here it is.
Mike Duff.
Sorry, bro.
Oh, you're good, buddy. You're good.
That was great too, bro.
That's where I'm going up my ankle.
And then
a lot more of these behind the scenes mic'd up stuff. I've been seeing it over the last week or two here, Cody. I don't know if this is becoming more of a thing now.
No, it's always been a thing with the Bruins.
Oh, with the Bruins? On the ice too?
Yeah.
Okay. That I haven't seen a lot of that. Ice one.
There's some old Leafs fan probably just like screaming at that video. This is why the Leafs are not going to be good.
The handshake line and stuff like that in the past when they lose, and having conversations with the team that just knocked them out.
Yep, I mean, just an absolute tire fire. The Leafs are in the playoffs. We'll see if
the Leafs are frustrated this week. Not getting over
losing the little brother in Ottawa.
Ottawa now. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But anything else there, boys?
We're kind of wrapped there. Appreciate everyone again liking, subscribing. All of our live stream content is there. The Seth Jones trade deadline will be live every post game on the Twitter X platform, so make sure to catch us there. We're getting a lot more listeners coming in now, Cody, coming down the playoff stretch. Everyone's really locked in now every game here, and it's nice because these are games to play for with the division up for grabs. So appreciate Nick, you being by all week long here. Nice to have Cody back in the rotation and swing of things here moving forward. Yeah, other than that, guys, Cody, you're going to start maybe a March Madness bracket for the
Yep. I'll probably start that up tomorrow. Kirby tweet out
anybody but Gonzaga.
You're saying it wrong. It's Gonzaga.
You say it wrong. How do you say? The dish? That's
pasta.
Yeah, no. You get muted. There you go. Okay, you got muted.
As we finish off the night, let's listen back to our favorite Scottish Leaf fan.
I love the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Tonight, though?
I don't give a fuck. I'm here. I'm pissed. I'm absolutely pissed. Brilliant. I'm from Scotland. I've come 3,300 miles to see this shit.
Everything's... Oh, yes!
I'm really upset about Grebenkin going.
I am too.
Big chick, for chick,
Big chick for Scotland!
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats!